Welcome back to the channel and thank you for checking out my review of the 2025 Hasbro Marvel Legends X-Force X-23 and Warpath 2-pack. In this review, I will take a closer look at the reused and new parts of X-23 and Warpath. Unfortunately, I've encountered defects in my reviews. It's not the red pimple of Laura's cheek. I'll also be performing several kit bashes and providing a quick overview of the comic book origins of these figures. Although from afar, the 2025 X-23 is identical to the 2018 X-23, but there are differences. This includes the new double-jointed pinless elbows and double-jointed pinless knees. The torso seems to be a reused body part because of the neck peg. It's a ball with a hinge, same size of ball. Later, I will show some X-23 head swaps between the new and old. The arm of the 2018 X-23 has this hinge exposed, which is all black, so the gray lines break. Unlike the new one, which has a bicep swivel, the lines continue and a more seamless look. This is such a good upgrade. The new X-23 has a gunmetal type of gray, unlike the old one which is somewhat brighter gray. The lower torso of the new X-23 is flesh plastic, which is good because the old one has flesh paint chipping, revealing that it's actually a black plastic painted flesh. The belt buckle is slightly different between the two. The new one has a silver X, while the old one has a black X. Another thing slightly different, it's hardly noticeable, are the claws. For a lack of a better word, the new one has less plastic material. It's slightly smaller. The new X-23 has double-jointed pinless knees. The buckle straps of her boots are different compared to the old one, where in the old one there's an extra plastic showing the ends of the strap, unlike the new one wherein the straps are molded into the boot. Although there is no silver paint on the boots of the new one, she does have that toe claw that was missing in the first 2018 X-23. If X-23 looks identical, Warpath is a different case, wherein his new black costume makes him look different from the old 2020 Warpath from the strong guy with the figure wave. The upper torso is different. This time, this new Warpath has a upper torso swivel. With good range, you can do that. And he can crunch forward, so it's a swivel with a crunch. Unlike the 2020 strong guy Warpath, it only can crunch forward and back. And he has a waist swivel. The arms are where the reuse happened, and the legs. You can see the pins right there. This time, he just has a different boots, which is excellently done by Hasbro. These new boots really look nice on Warpath. His arms reminds me of Extreme X-Men Wolverine, where they repainted the same Warpath arms, but the sleeves are just painted on. It's not sculpted on, but that's alright. It's hardly noticeable anyway. When you remove the head, you would clearly see that the torso is different. This is a brand new torso with a double dumbbell neck peg, unlike the old one which has a ball with a hinge. Starting off the head swap, let's use the old head on the new Warpath body. It won't peg in. The peg hole of this old head is too small for the new Warpath body. This also means that a head swap using the new one on the old 2020 Warpath body is possible, but the head would be very loose because the hole of that head is bigger than the ball peg of the old Warpath body. On the other hand, for X-23, head swaps between the new and old is possible. Here is the new head sculpt on the old X-23 body. The flesh tone would be different because the old X-23 has darker flesh tones. The new X-23 comes with two head sculpts. Here is the second one, which is the screaming head. Now trying out the 2018 X-23 head on the 2025 upgraded new X-23 body, it also works. It's just that she has a darker skin tone head. The new X-23 has some kind of a wristband strap which is removable. Using the removable strap on the old X-23, it's quite loose because the thickness of the wrist is different. Since the arms are different, when you use the alternate hands of the new X-23 on the old X-23 body, there would be a gap between the hand and the wrist. You can see right there. But you can hide it using the straps. Just pull up the straps and there you go. That gap is hidden. Here is the last pair of hands, which is the open palm hands. Same is true. There will be a gap, so you need to pull that up to hide it. Was this useful? Hope you give this review a like. Laura Kinney, the new Wolverine. Here is a head swap using the new X-Force Screaming head on the Sauron Build-A-Figure Wave all new Wolverine body. In all of the head swaps I did for X-23 in this review, this has got to be my favorite. I know it's not comic book accurate, but adding a screaming head on this all new Wolverine body, it looks really good. The good thing about this all new Wolverine body mold is she is covered with costume, so there is no skin exposed. Flesh tone matching won't be a problem. Standing beside Kraken, only one more Wolverine kid is missing, and that is Honey Badger. Using the unmasked head that came with the all-new Wolverine, here is what she looks like. With a darker skin tone, the old Kitbash I did is better. Are the Kitbash and head swaps useful? If it was, hope you give this review a like, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your friends. For places where the figures in this review might still be available, I left some links in the description below. Up next is a closer look at the 2-pack. But before that, you might be wondering, did X-23 came with a pair of trigger finger hands and a weapon, just like the sniper rifle here, and a gun? She did not came with any of those. In the comic books, she does handle guns. For the trigger finger hands, I used hands from the best articulated Black Widow. Unfortunately, those hands are larger because Black Widow is an adult while X-23 is supposed to be a teen. But it can work. For the gun, I needed something larger, so I used the ones that came with the hood. The sniper rifle is from the Deadly Origins Black Widow, which is a Target exclusive from 2020.
I'm Juggernaut!
The new X-23 comes with two head sculpts. The first one is without the eye mask and the other one with an eye mask. Let's take a closer look at the one without the mask. The facial expression is appropriate for a member of the Black Ops team, X-Force. She has her teeth grinding and an angry eyebrow. Comic book accurate green eyes. It's not noticeable because her eyes are quite small and there are some dark washes around it, but it's all green. Her hair is nicely sculpted, all black swept to the right side. As mentioned a while ago in the intro, there are inkjet printed details on her cheeks and there's somewhat too much red, a red dot on her left cheek which looks like a pimple. There are no sculpted details on her costume. It is a black plastic with gunmetal gray paint. Here you can see that the shoulders are painted better and she has double jointed pinless elbows. The ends of her gloves are not sculpted. They are just painted on, so it's black paint on the wrist. As mentioned a while ago, since this is a Juggernaut Collectibles review, possibly a defect. We can see that there is a large gap between the front torso and the back torso. The other side looks okay, but the other one, it's really noticeable. That kind of defect is hard to spot in the packaging, so it's really unfortunate. Since it is on the side of her lower torso, I probably won't notice it that much. She comes with double jointed pinless knees. Her boots were updated. This time there are shoelaces sculpted on. Unlike the old 2018 X-23, this new one comes with a much needed toe claws. The second head sculpt is a more angrier, screaming head. Nicely done by Hasbro again with the open mouth sculpt. Her tongue is nicely sculpted, painted white teeth, although there is some paint dots of white on her lips for this figure that I got, but it's not noticeable from afar. Her nicely sculpted all black hair is swept to the left side. In the earlier issues of X-Force, there is a silver part of her mask on top of her nose, but this changed later on, which is all black. She comes with a pair of closed fist hands. Each hand has two claws out. These hands can hinge forward and back. Something I noticed here is the claws are very loose. This normally happens when you remove the claws, but in this case, I did not remove these claws, it just came loose. She comes with a pair of open palm expressive hand. Each hand has a different type of finger position. One thing I noticed here is the fingernails are sculpted on, meaning these hands probably were not all black plastic in the past. Probably this is a regular flesh hand. But you can see there, the fingernails are sculpted on. The final pair of hands she comes with is a pair of closed fist hands. All of her hands can hinge forward and back. As mentioned a while ago, she does not have any weapon holding hands. I wish she came with it because it's gonna be useful when you recreate comic book poses. Moving on to James Proudstar or Warpath. Nicely sculpted new head, stoic, same mask as X-23. It's all black with his eyes all red. Since his upper torso is all black plastic, the neck would be a darker flesh color. It won't match the flesh color of his arms and his face. But it's alright because his long hair does cover his neck. The torso of Warpath is the same as the Walmart exclusive Venom. The arms is a reuse of the Warpath from the Strong Guy with the figure wave. That sleeves of his shirt is just painted on, so that black is painted on the flesh plastic. He has pins, but that's alright because it's the same color. Underneath, I noticed this one has gray and black. I'm not sure why they painted black on that spot, because on the other armpit it's all gray. I'm not sure why. I just find it odd that this one has black paint under his armpits. The gray details of his costume is just painted on, and Hasbro did a good job painting his butterfly joint with those grays. The end of his gloves is a separate piece. It looks like a wristband. It's really nicely done. It is similar in design with X-23. I'm glad that Hasbro added those sculpted details instead of painting them on. This belt is a separate piece. He does not have a waist swivel unlike the old Warpath. Again, this is the Venom body mold. He has a sheath for his knives. Double jointed knees with pins because this is a reused part. His boots are different though and seems to be new. Unlike X-23, which came with 6 hands or 3 pairs of hands, Warpath only comes with 4 hands. He comes with a pair of closed fist hands which can hinge forward and back. This set of hands has a thumb sculpted on because this is the same hands which came with the old strong guy with the figure wave Warpath. You can see there the thumbs are sculpted on. It's a black version of these hands. Warpath comes with a pair of weapon holding hands. These hands can hinge forward and back. It is the same set of hands that came with the old Warpath from the strong guy with the figure wave. It's just a black version of it. As you can see right here, the position of his fingers is exactly the same. The sculpted fingernails can be seen on the black hands as well. It's just not noticeable because it's all black plastic, but these hands are exactly the same. This becomes an advantage when using the weapon that X-Force Warpath comes with, which is 2 knives. It's comic book accurate and nicely sculpted. You can use the sheath on the back to attach one knife and also the other. Notice how well done the sculpt is. The knife seems to be gray plastic, so the black here is painted on the handles. I do worry when Hasbro does this because if you kept on using the knives, eventually the black paint would be removed. So he can hold the knives in 2 ways. Usually in the comic books he holds it this way, downwards. The sheath on the back of his belt can accommodate 2 knives, so you can attach both of them. So removing that, attaching it here, there is enough space to fit both knives, and that's really good. It may look simple, but it is really clever by Hasbro. I hope they are more consistent when thinking of this type of accessories. That is all the accessories included with Warpath. In the comments below, let me know, should Hasbro included more? Maybe an alternate head? For a short comic book background, the pair of X-23 and Warpath is comic book accurate because in the first few issues of the 2008 X-Force by Chris Yost, X-23 and Warpath team up a lot because they are the first members of the Wolverine-led X-Force. From issue 1 to 4, X-Force is composed of Wolverine, Warpath, X-23, and Wolfsbane. At this point, we don't have a Wolfsbane X-Force. Hopefully, in the near future, Hasbro will create a comic book accurate Wolfsbane X-Force. At the end of issue 4, Archangel is added to the group. Another member missing in action figure form is Elixir, which is the healer of the group. As the team takes on missions, new members are added to the group. One of them is Banisher, and shortly in issue number 11, Domino was added to the team. This is the 2008 X-Force roster. In this X-Force group, only Wolverine and Archangel are present in the 2010 Uncanny X-Force by Rick Remender. That is the team where the new Marvel Legends Uncanny X-Force Nightcrawler fits in. Nightcrawler was one of the last member added to that group, which was initially composed of Wolverine, Phantom X, Deadpool, Psylocke, and Archangel. In my recent Marvel Legends Archangel review, one thing that I failed to point out is this open-mouthed, vampire-looking head and his sharp nail hands represents his look in Uncanny X-Force, while the other one, which is the more stoic and has closed fist hands, would represent his look in X-Force. I hope you found that comic book background discussion useful. If you do, please give this review a like, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your friends. The 2025 Marvel Legends Series X-Force X-23 action figure stands 14.5 centimeters or 5.7 inches tall. According to Marvel.com, her comic book height is 5 feet 1 inch. Although the figure is taller than her comic book height, I personally prefer her this way. Her X-Force teammate Warpath measures 18.5 centimeters or 7.3 inches tall. According to the 90s X-Men Info Trading card, he is listed at 6 feet 1 inch tall. This suggests that Cable, who is 6 feet 8 inches, should be significantly taller than Warpath. However, if you're familiar with Rob Liefeld's artwork, you'll notice that Warpath often towers over his X-Force teammates. Again, I prefer him to be portrayed tall like this action figure. Here is the new X-Force X-23 and Warpath besides other 2008 X-Force members, Archangel, Wolverine, and Domino. In order to complete this team, Hasbro needs to create Vanisher, Wolfsbane, and Elixir. Here is X-23 and Warpath besides members of the 2010 Uncanny X-Force, Phantom X, Archangel, Psylocke, Wolverine, Deadpool, and Deathlock. I cannot fit in this photo Nightcrawler. The only member of this team without a Hasbro Marvel Legends action figure is Eva. She is the physical manifestation of Phantom X's nervous system. And to be clear, X-23 and Warpath was not part of the Uncanny X-Force team. Here is Laura besides his Daken and another clone, possibly. The 2018 Sasquatch Build-A-Figure Wave X-23. Besides Warpath is the Strong Guy Build-A-Figure Wave X-Force Warpath and his brother Thunderbird. Possibly another clone of Laura from the Sauron Build-A-Figure Wave All-New Wolverine. And her father, the astonishing X-Men Wolverine. X-23 and Warpath besides different sizes of Spider-Man. First we have the Secret Wars Spider-Man, which is slightly shorter. Then we have the Maximum Series Spider-Man, the Renew Your Vow Spider-Man, Ultimate Miles Morales Spider-Man. Besides the Angel of Death, Archangel Deluxe action figure, and the Retro Apocalypse. Hasbro Marvel Legends vs Medicom Toy Mafex. First we have from the Love Triangle 3-pack Jean Grey and Mafex Jean Grey. Next is X-Men 97 Cyclops and the Mafex Cyclops. Secret Wars Brown Costume Wolverine and the Mafex Brown Costume Wolverine. 6-inch scale G-Toy Street Fighters, Guile, Cammy, the Pink Chun-Li, and Ryu. Darna, Philippines version of Wonder Woman by Halimaw Sculptures and Loose Collector, and the Boss Fight Studio Epic Hacks Red Sonja. Medicom Toy Mafex vs Diamond Select Toys Marvel Select, beginning with Magneto, Mafex Psylocke, which is slightly taller than X-23, while the Marvel Select Psylocke is quite tall, side by side with Warpath. The Medicom Toy Mafex Gambit and the Marvel Select Gambit. Marvel Legends vs Diamond Select Toys, we have from the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure Wave Rogue and Marvel Select Rogue. Marvel Legends Sabretooth from the Wolverine 50th Anniversary 2-pack and the Marvel Select Sabretooth. Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Apocalypse and the Marvel Select Apocalypse. Another Marvel Legends X-Men Build-A-Figure, Juggernaut, and the Marvel Select Juggernaut. Marvel celebrating 80 years, Hulk, and the Marvel Select Hulk. From the Gamerverse, we have Spirit Spider and the huge $60 Gamerverse Venom. For packaging, the X-Force 2-pack of X-23 and Warpath comes with a rectangular box. There is a window. You can see the figure and accessories. At the bottom, it says X-Force. The comic book art of X-23 and Warpath is the same on both sides and on the back. This comic book art of X-23 is by Ji Young Lee. It is a variant comic book cover for X-Force number 1, 2019, where she is not actually a member. The art of Warpath is taken from X-Force number 10, where he teamed up with Ghost Rider to beat the Demon Bear. Warning, legalities, and the barcode. On top is the X logo. Unboxing the X-Force 2-pack of X-23 and Warpath. There is only one plastic tray containing the figures and the accessories. At the back of the figures is a generic Marvel Legends comic book strip art in gray. I wish they did something similar with the 50th anniversary Wolverine, wherein there are comic book pages as a background. X-23 articulation, her head can move from side to side with some hindrance because of her hair. She cannot look up, she can look down really well. Arms can extend that far. She can do a full 360 right here. She has a bicep swivel, double jointed pinless elbows. Wrist can swivel, hinge forward and back. X-23 has an upper torso swivel. She cannot crunch forward, crunch backward just a little. She doesn't have a waist swivel. She can do a split. She has an upper thigh swivel right here. She has double jointed pinless knees. Can kick that far to the back, forward, hidden boot cut swivel here. Feet can hinge forward and back, and she has an ankle rocker. Head can move from side to side with some hindrance because of his hair. Cannot look up, can look down. Arms can extend that far. He can do a full 360 right here. He has a butterfly joint, so he can move his arms far that back. And he can move it forward as well. He has a bicep swivel right here. Double jointed elbows with pins. Wrist can swivel, hinge forward and back. He has an upper torso swivel. Since this is the Walmart exclusive Venom torso, he can crunch forward that much, crunch backward that well. He doesn't have a waist swivel. He can do a split. He has an upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees with pins, can kick back, forward, hidden boot cut here for a swivel, feet can hinge forward and back, and he has an ankle rocker. My final thoughts on the Hasbro Marvel Legends series X-Force, X-23 and Warpath. This was a great opportunity for new collectors to add the X-Force versions of X-23 and Warpath to their collection. X-23 received a well-deserved upgrade, now featuring much-needed toe claws as well as double-jointed pinless elbows and knees. Since I didn't have an X-Force Warpath, this was a perfect chance for me to include him in my collection. I'm glad that Hasbro incorporated the Walmart exclusive Venom torso, which provides an upper torso swivel. I'm fine with the reuse of arms and legs. If you already own the 2018 Wendigo Build-A-Figure Wave X-23 and only needed Warpath just like me, the addition of toe claws for Laura makes this 2-pack a worthwhile purchase. If you decide to make a purchase, be sure to watch out for defects, the ones that I mentioned in this review. Hasbro positions their figures as premium products, but my experience has shown that they often don't feel premium due to the defects I encountered in most of the figures I've reviewed on this channel. I hope in my future reviews, I won't have to point out defects in the premium Hasbro Marvel Legends figures. For more X-Force and Uncanny X-Force reviews, I created a playlist in the top right corner of your screen. Hope you check it out. Thank you for watching. If you found this review useful, please give this review a like, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your friends. I hope to see you on the next one.